My name is Suzanne Kachmar. I am the Executive Director of City Lights and the Artistic Director. The reason we're doing this exhibit now is, well, first of all, Claude Desir, a very talented young Bridgeport artist, asked if he could do a solo show. He'd never done that before. January, February is Black History Month, and when he started to tell me about the content of his show, which is to basically reappropriate and reclaim blackface and give it a modern individual interpretation through a young voice, I thought it was very refreshing and important to do. And then as our recent history evolved over the summer between the killing of George Floyd, the protests of Black Lives Matter, our recent politics, and even the breach of Capitol Hill, it just seems so relevant. I hope we'll get people having respectful and empathetic conversation. I hope there'll be some sort of questioning and maybe healing going on, but that might be too much to ask for right now. But at least the conversation hopefully will get people thinking, and hopefully it's going to bring people of diverse backgrounds together to have some of these very serious conversations. I'm fearful in a way that some of it could be painful, but I feel that maybe we need to go through this process. And as I thought about it and spoke with other artists of color who I respect as consultants for the show, that I realized that provocative art can be the sword and the salve, where it could lance perhaps a wound that is festering, and then also could be the agent to help heal. And so I hope that's what this exhibit does. I also hope that we could just show some beautiful art of a young art maker, right? And a new voice. And part of it for me was I wanted to hand over pretty much all the decision making to Claude. I wanted him to have that experience. I wanted to have that experience. I wanted to know what this other voice, in many ways, age, race, gender, would do in the gallery, and together collaborate, but not be the leader. And that was a great experience for me. First of all, Claude is a doll. It's been great to work with him. He's got young energy, he's playful, he's a risk taker, but he's got a wise soul. It's just been amazing. He talks to me about Miles Davis, and he talks to me about this, blackface and Jim Crow imagery. He encouraged me and spurred me to do my own research. And then it's like, in some ways, the saying, take the scales from your eyes. I felt the scales, in a way, being removed from my eyes when just our recent history fell into place. I think I had some awareness, but with the things that happened recently, all of the content of the show really became so relevant. We talked about Birth of a Nation, that silent film that talks about, manipulates Jim Crow imagery to make derogatory characterizations of Black people during a time when freed slaves were being independent and wanted to become part of the American experiment. And the movie talks about the transference of power from the White House to Capitol Hill. We were putting this exhibit together while these things were happening, like the breach at Capitol Hill. So it became very relevant. And I could see where, even if people think some of the political polarization that's going on, some may question and say race isn't part of it, but I can see where people can really be at least concerned, or even enraged how race is playing a part of this. And we just need to be aware. We need to be aware of our actions, our words, our deeds. And I hope this show will bring that for people to think about. I learned the gravity of some implications that I kind of understood. I learned from a young man how certain things that we talked about cartoons, and we talked about the blackface imagery in cartoons. I grew up with those, and they were just funny. I didn't think of them as a racial slur, but I also didn't live in a black skin, so therefore I didn't feel the offense. One of the things that we did with this show was to question, how far should we go? When are we teaching, and when are we reaching the point where we might be reversing, we might be insulting, we might be becoming part of the problem? And so to that point, I realized that someone of color could walk in this show and feel some offense. So I felt I needed to make that level of feeling uncomfortable or threatened be an opportunity for a white person to walk in too. And so therefore we added other artwork to the show where the roles were reversed. Again, not meant to be sensational. It's not, I don't do anything for shock. I think that's a real cheap shot. It's about thinking and taking, and that was it. Like, how far do we take it? Working with Iyaba has been a great experience. We've worked together for years. We've had connections through friends when he was a young person, which makes it so beautiful. But we've worked together over the years in the school programs, and he's had exhibits here. In fact, I met Iyaba when we did an exhibit, our first exhibit where we talked about race. It was called Black and White, and it was done when Trayvon Martin was killed. And I wanted to have an exhibit that forced people to realize that we do look at things at times in a term of black and white. And how do we look at things in terms of black and white? And that was the first time I met Iyaba, who exhibited in our exhibit. And then we started doing other programs. But it's been great to have very candid and sometimes difficult conversations where we've gotten mad at each other and needed to give each other a break because it was just a misunderstanding. And I think I've learned, I'm grateful to him, and that we've been able to say, you know what, we're learning from it, and our relationship and the question and the need to maybe do some healing, not internationally or country to country or race, or just person to person. It's been a great arc of a relationship, and I hope it continues, and I know it will. Iyaba's work, I've watched Iyaba's work go through, he's got different imagery, different bodies of work, I should say. And, he does beautiful textural work, it's collage work of people. He's got a beautiful way to abstract the figure, and I love all of that about his work. And he has a spontaneity as well, and a depth to thought, and like Claude, putting serious expression and ideas into the work that he makes, rooted in personality as well as in history. And for this particular show, we chose some work that was probably some of his most controversial, and I felt that it was this role reversal art that we needed to put in the show. But he's got so much other beautiful work that we've had in the gallery, and he's a poet, and he's a performer, and it's great to see him do all of that. And I've learned from all of that different artwork from him, as I do from all the artists that I work with.